welcome back. For you guys on Twitch, this is like 30 seconds later. For you guys on YouTube, yes, I'm wearing the same t-shirt, okay? It's still the same day for us over here at Twitch, okay? I see comments sometimes, people are like, oh my god, you wear the same t-shirt every day. Shut up! Playing a lot of games in a row, okay? Jeez. Don't make me show you all my t-shirts right there. He's lying. Hey. Okay, so welcome. This is game number 2, Beastyqt versus AlphaStar. Now, I'm gonna include 2 games into this video for you guys on YouTube because they're short. So let's get into it. Let me mute so you guys don't hear the background noise. Again, you won't be able to hear the in-game. You will just be able to hear people talk and the noise at Blizzcon and stuff like that because, again, this was done on kind of open space. Okay, there we go. I was gonna say that was very bright. So again, a huge shout out to Ajax for recording this. I really do appreciate it. Literal god. Now, I'm gonna catch up all the bits and subs after, guys. By the way, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. It's just the notifications are turned off right now. So this is game number 2. So this is game straight after I played the last one. I lost it, and then I queue up for this one. So, and what do we see? Well, there's a pylon down my ramp. So I thought AlphaStar is faking me, like he's like fake cannon rushing me. But I put an SCV here to see if there's another probe, and what do we see? Another probe. So AlphaStar literally cannon rushed me when I was playing Terran. So I was like, what? Okay, I was very confused because you guys know that, you know, if you guys watch me on Twitch especially, I never lose against cannon rushes. So this to me was very funny. Cannon rushes are really bad against Terran in general, so I was like, okay, maybe he's gonna do some sick cannon rush. I don't know. You know, maybe just fucking pawns me super hard. So I try to snipe that probe, because once you kill that probe inside, and I walled off the ramp so the second probe can't go in. Now I'm like, okay, the only thing I gotta do is, you can see me there struggling to click the factory and stuff, and clicking micro, because again, it was kind of uncomfortable. But the more I played, the more comfortable I felt with the gear, and yeah. So here he goes for the, you know, for the bunker. No target fire on SCVs, which is interesting, because the one cannon can reach the SCVs. So he just goes for the bunker. I kill the pylon, and that's pretty much it. Now, who was deciding which computer was on big monitor? Well, I specifically waited for that computer to be free so I can play, so that people could record me play on the big screen for you guys. Big brain cutie. Big brain cutie. I mean, again, I had no idea I could be playing AlphaStar at Blizzcon, but when I saw that there's a big screen and stuff, I was like, oh, I can get this recorded and I can show this to you guys, which I thought was super cool. Again, I always wanted to play AlphaStar, so this was like super cool for me. But yeah, this game, I mean, it just fails the cannon rush. Cannon rush against Terran is not great. You guys know this, I've always said this, and it just doesn't really do much. And to be honest, I've seen a lot better cannon rushes. So apparently, again, this was one of the AlphaStars that loves to cannon rush. It's like cannon rushes every game, and then it follows it up with like proxies. So basically what I've been told is like it cannon rushes, it follows it up with like robos, with stargates. It rarely expands, it just kind of keeps all-inning after that. So, you know, again, different agents, and yeah. So here I made a couple of Hellions, and just put it behind the mineral lines to kind of seal the deal, right? So there were a couple of people that also played against AlphaStar, and regarding losing to a specific strategy, AlphaStar lost the most games against cannon rushes. I think the person who recorded this, Ajax, Florencio also cannon rushed it, and I think AlphaStar lost probably like 4 or 5 games to cannon rushes. I haven't seen those matches, so I don't really know exactly how they went. But apparently it doesn't do too great against human cannon rushers. But yeah, this game, I mean, you can see I proxy starport as well. I'm just locking down and mining completely. It can't do crap. And I was literally making a siege tank inside of the AlphaStar's base to just kind of get it to leave. Now, the one thing, AlphaStar in this version does not GG. Like, you actually have to eliminate it in order for AlphaStar to leave the game. So here I got my siege tank, and this was pretty much kind of like game over because, you know, I just kill the cannon, kill the probes. But to be honest, look at this recall. So this recall, when I saw it, because AlphaStar is kind of crazy, right? And from the previous game, I was like, maybe it has insane amounts of, like, maybe it has a hidden base, maybe it has more units. And then he does the recall, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh man. Like, it's like Void Ray recall or something. Look at this. 1 probe. Fucking legend. And I was like, alright. I remember I just laughed. So, yeah, at this point, if this was a human player, I would be like, okay, GG. But I was actually like, kind of like, maybe it has more stuff because of how efficiently it was doing things in the previous game. So I went around to scout, see what it has, what it does. And it had a gateway proxy on my natural that it didn't do anything with because I disrupted the mining very early on. So maybe that would have been stalkers, I don't know. And then also on my third, there's a proxy robo. So AlphaStar probably has a prism as well. So it probably wanted to do like an immortal prism follow-up all in. I'm not sure, but again, this was like a super duper cheesy AI. Did you play your games back to back? Yes. So yeah, this is I think it. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Stop it, guys. Stop it. Hey, listen. Stop it. Stop it. Just for the record, by the way, I'm going to show you another game now that I played in TVT. But apparently the first day of BlizzCon, AlphaStar played over 200 games. And it only lost 2, the advanced one. And both games were lost to cannon rushes. So this was like the first game at BlizzCon that was played that a human beat AlphaStar without cannon rushing it, but AlphaStar lost the game because it cannon rushed. So technically it still lost the game because of cannon rush. So let me load up the second game that I want to show you because it's really short, so I'm going to keep them together. I don't want to, you know, they're both 7-minute games, so I don't want to have them separate because, you know, there's not too much to talk about. So this is me playing, so after the Cannon Rush game that you've just seen, I've actually played another TVP, but the game is longer, so we're gonna do that game after this one. Now this one is me versus AlphaStar TVT. Now the sad part that I want to say is I didn't record, or I don't have recordings of all the games I've played, which is kind of sad. Because the best games that I've actually had against AlphaStar, the best game that I've had was Terran versus Zerg. It was a 40-minute game. I was down to 1 base versus 7 bases, but it wasn't recorded. Which is really sad because the game was really freaking cool. Like, it was really funny and really cool. So, there it is. So, again, I ended up 7-3 versus AlphaStar against, like, the best agents, but I only have 4 games recorded. So this is 3rd game, and then I have another game that I'm going to show you guys, and then there's 5 serial games. Okay, who won the 40 minutes? I won. It was a really cool game. So yeah, now I'm gonna talk a little bit about each of the AIs. So the Protoss AI, in my opinion, was the most human-like AI. From all the games that I've seen, from all the games that I've played, and how I felt against the AlphaStar, The Protoss one feels the most human, and it feels like it's scouting and it's reacting, and it has some really smart moves that it does. The Terran AI is by far the dumbest AI. It is so dumb, and the guys from DeepMind were also like, the Terran AI does really weird stuff, and quality-wise, it was the worst by far, in my opinion. Fun fact, though, I went 2-2 with the Terran versus Terran AI. So, you know, whatever you want to take from that, I don't know, but you will see what happens. Let's just say that. Now, the Zerg AI is the least, how do I say it? The least responsive AI, I feel like, and the Zerg AI is the least strategic AI, but the macro of the Zerg AlphaStar and the execution of the Zerg AlphaStar is insane. It is actually insane. The Zerg AlphaStar beat Serral twice in ZVZ. And whenever you have not only a pro player, but the top pro player like Serral lose to AlphaStar and say, that shouldn't work, what it just did, because it beat him. And I'm like, I know. It shouldn't work, but it worked because it executes the macro on completely another level. Like, completely another level. And again, I wish I have the Terran versus Zerg game to show you guys, because that game shows really well what exactly I mean with the execution and how well it does. The Zerg one. Now, that is my opinion in general about the AIs, but I'm going to talk about this more whenever we check the Serral games, because I actually have not seen them at all. I just know that Serral had a really rough time. What is the gameplay in the background? This is me versus AlphaStar at Blizzcon against the best AlphaStar agents. So this is me playing TVT. Now, so right now AlphaStar is lifting this barracks, and I thought it's lifting the barracks so the Marines can go through. But you will see why it was lifting the barracks. So the siege tank comes out, the reactor is going on the starport. So the reactor is going on starport straight away, by the way. It's not swapping it or making any units before swapping it. So it went no Reaper. The build that AlphaStar did was reactor, barracks into expand. There was no Reaper, and it just went straight into Marines. And the build that I'm doing is the most standard TVT build for a long time now. I mean, I guess Reaper fast expand is more standard, but build that I did was barracks, gas, expand, and then starport. You make 3 Reapers, 3 Hellions, or 2 Hellions, and then you go into Cyclone, double Raven, siege tank production, and reactor Vikings with triple CC. So I did a very kind of standard TVT build because I felt like this was my first game against the Terran AlphaStar, so I just wanted to kind of play safe and not try too many fancy things. So here I'm like, you know, I'm just trying to gain vision to see if it's gonna maybe push against me. This is where you can see with like clicking and stuff, I was way more comfortable. And I think if you rewatch the first game that I showed you and this game, you can see that I'm much more confident in my clicks, much more precise. I kind of felt at this point that I was like playing at home. I can say that like from this point on, if I lost any games, I lost because of my keybinds, you know. I lost because I lost, right? But again, the first game you could see me like struggle to select units, struggle to move my stuff, but here yeah, felt pretty good. So I'm playing pretty defensively. I actually didn't see that it was a reactor on the starport, by the way. I thought it's a tech lab. Because again, opening a reactor on your starport from your starport is kind of weird. So I go for mech here. I have my Cyclone in the main base because of the, you know, maybe it's a Banshee, maybe it's a Liberator, I don't know. But yeah, I'm thinking, you know, so far so good. I got my 2 command centers. I'm getting reactor Vikings right now. Got my siege tanks going. So I see AlphaStar pushing out, right? I see siege tanks that was moving out. No other units. So that means that AlphaStar is already on the way to across the map. And I see 1 Viking as well. So I'm like, okay, it's doing the standard, you know, Viking siege tank marine push. Not a big deal, right? I'm like, okay, I'm set up for that. This is where it happens. You won't believe what happens next. Okay. So I'm killing SCVs and I see a Liberator. A Liberator and 5 Vikings. And this is the point where I have just 2 Ravens. So I'm like, I remember I was playing this and I was like, did I miss a production cycle of Vikings? Because you're supposed to have like 2 Ravens against, or 2 Ravens, 2 Vikings against 6 Vikings. That's fine. But I didn't even have my 2 Vikings out. It was just 2 Ravens. So I'm like, what? I was very confused. So it's like poking, it's doing the micro. My first 2 Vikings are coming out. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm in trouble, you know? So the AI, now it's 2 Liberators, and now there's another Viking. And another Viking that just arrived from the top. And I'm like, what? So, again, I think, like, did I miss a production cycle? Like, did I mess up the build? Because I haven't played Terran, you know, too active in my stream, and I was like, am I completely derping the build order? And I was like, oh, that's embarrassing. And then I'm like, no. Like, I'm bad, but I'm not that bad. So I'm like, no. And there's more Vikings coming. So what I do, I scan the main base, and Mother Trucker, what do we see? AlphaStar didn't make any Marines after that. It just went double starport, reactor Vikings, and siege tanks. And I was like, well, I guess I lose. Now, if you guys remember, do you guys remember where was the second or the first time that we've seen this build? Where I also lost to it? It was a show match. Let me remind you. When I played against Raynor in random versus random show match casted by Pig, Raynor did the same thing in TVT and I lost. Except Raynor didn't finish the game. And back then when he did it, he went double reactor starport siege tank like this. And I remember seeing it, I'm like, there's probably ways to defend this because no one's doing it. But then I realized, if you're doing a stim timing, like any version of fast stim or medevac drop or I don't know, something, it completely destroys this. But the only thing that this build beats is the double Raven openers. Because the double Raven, in theory, is better with a lot of Vikings than just pure Viking. But because this is such an early push, you actually just don't have Vikings. You have Ravens, which are useless because he has tanks as well. So this is literally like an all-in build. Because there's, like, what is the transition from here, right? If I defend this, he has 1 factory. He has no third. It's just reactor Vikings. And the AlphaStar did no scouting. Obviously, I had no clue what I was doing. So it just did this build. Now, this is the part where I told you guys. The Terran AI had... I didn't want to tell this earlier because I would have maybe revealed what he did. He put the Vikings on the ground. No. So, the Terran AI, the execution, just overall AI was the worst. Now I'll tell you why. It beat me 2 times out of the 3 losses that I've had against all 3 races. But build order wise, it did the weirdest shit ever. Every single time I've played against the Terran AI, it did something that people just don't do. And I honestly think that if I played against it again, I wouldn't have lost a single game because it does these builds that are just not good, but it wins because nobody does this, so I didn't consider this, right? Because if I played this specific AI, let's say in a best of 5, you know, I would have never lost to this build again. But it did work, and I did lose, you know? Which, this is a strong build, and I actually suggest you guys try this on the ladder. If you're facing a lot of Raven openers, this is a strong build, but it has no transition. And I'm guessing that this AI in TVT just won the game straight up like this because the meta is to open Ravens. You know, like that's just how you play TVT these days. That's just the meta. And this build absolutely crushes it. Absolutely crushes it. So there it is. That's the second game of this little video if you guys are watching on YouTube. Like I said, every single time I played against Terran AI or watched it play, it did very weird, unorthodox stuff. The execution of it, I mean, that execution was good. There wasn't anything it did necessarily wrong, but the Terran AlphaStar doesn't really do too many exceptionally well micro moves, if that makes sense. The Protoss and the Zerg AlphaStar, I felt microed way better. This one just had kind of like no scouting, does a build, if it works, it works, if it doesn't, I'm dead kind of thing, right? Whereas the Zerg AI was scouting, the Protoss AI was scouting a lot and had really good micro moves. And this one was just kind of, you know, from me, I've talked about this one time when I was analyzing AlphaStar replays. To me, yes, it did beat me, but I am not impressed by this as much as I am with the other two AIs for the reasons I just listed. So, you know, that's up to you for you guys to decide if this is impressive or not. But this build is definitely something I'll be trying out on the ladder. And I do think that if you meet the Ravens, sadly the Raven player is going to be very sad because you're not going to defeat this unless you see it very early on. The thing is, in TV, the reason why this build is so good in the current meta is because after you see it's 1-1-1, there's no reason for you to scout again with the scan or whatever, because anything that Terran can do, except this, gets countered by the Raven Viking siege tank. Anything else gets countered. But maybe because of this, and because, you know, this video will be watched by thousands of people, maybe we together with the AlphaStar can change the meta, and maybe TVT is gonna become really dumb now with double starport reactor Vikings every game. I don't know, but I'll definitely be trying it out. Again, for you guys on Twitch, let me know if you want to see another game. For you guys on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your opinion about the about these games, and I'll see you boys next time. Twitch, let's continue, baby.